So here's where we are right here. This is what, so Steve, this is what they're recommending for you, okay? So I have my script up on my other screen, which I guess I forwarded through because of April. Okay, what my needs analysis is recommending for you is that we do increase what kind of coverage you guys have for your whole life. Now, I'm going to show you this little graph because I really like the way that it shows this. It makes it a little bit easier to understand. Just like bread, milk, gasoline, final expenses are increasing, right? Everything gets more expensive. Everything goes up except for our paycheck, right? So we got to prepare for that. And right now, you and Kim both have quite a bit of whole life, the whole life set aside for yourselves. The issue is that that's going to cover a funeral if you were to pass away today or tomorrow. What we're hoping for is that you survive a lot longer than that, and that you have, 20 years down the road, you're able to go ahead and cover that funeral and final expenses. Okay, so as you can see in this blue graph, today's expenses for a funeral is right around $15,000. Okay, and then because of inflation, we're estimating that in the next 20 years, that cost can go up to $30,000. And so what your needs analysis is recommending that we increase your coverage to make sure that you and Kim both have 30,000 there, just in case something is to happen to you, after inflation and after 20 years. Okay, you do still have that existing coverage of the 20,000, and then Kim has that 15. So to make that difference up, we've got 10,000 recommended for you, and then we have 15,000 recommended for Kim. Okay, and you can kind of see where that amount comes in, but that would get you covered for your funeral and final expenses with inflation. Do you see how that's really important that you have that there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then I wanted to show you this. This is what you are going to get with any policy through Liberty National. This is a freedom of choice certificate. This is really, really helpful, especially whenever your family is going in to try to negotiate that price of your funeral home and the service and your casket. If your family took in a life insurance policy that was worth $25,000, how much do you think your funeral is going to cost you?
Well, I would probably guess he'd come right around $24,999.
Yeah, he's going to try to spend as much of that money as he can, right? That he's a business owner, he's trying to make his cost too. So instead of us having a dollar amount on a certificate, this form actually helps your family. They can take this sheet in, and it just says the choice of your funeral home, that we would cover it, and that way your family is able to negotiate that on your behalf to get the best deal. And then whatever's left over, your family is going to get to keep that for themselves, which is the entire point of this whole policy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like when, it's not an if, it's a when. Your family's going to have to do this. Somebody is going to have to bury you. That's the one thing that we know is constant in our lives, is that somebody's going to pass away. But since you do have some protection, it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to just bump that up just a little bit. And to do that, here's what they're recommending for you. That 20,000 is what you have, 10,000 is what you need. Okay, and we can adjust that, of course, but this will get you and Kim both set for how much you're going to need to cover your funeral and final expenses. Now, does that make sense so far?
Yes, it does.
So it's basically a no-brainer then, right? That getting this coverage to cover you and Kim in case something happens, and then your son Christopher, he doesn't have to worry about it anymore, right? Right, Steve?
Yeah, yes, right.
Yeah, okay. Now, then they are also recommending some other protections for you. This first one here is a mortgage protection. Now, you told me you still had quite a bit of a mortgage balance, and so remember that there is going to be an adjustment period after the death of a breadwinner. It's unfortunate, and but it does happen, unfortunately. And since your wife is a homemaker, this is something that could very real happen to your family if something were to happen to you. The most expensive bill for a family is the mortgage, and that will still have to be paid. Otherwise, that family, the last thing we want to see is a family losing you and then possibly losing their home in the same year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stability is very important at that time so that they can rebuild their lives. So you can see on the screen right in front of you that we're recommending that we cover that mortgage balance, that you got $180,000 to pay off that mortgage in case something were to happen. And that's on a 30-year term. So it would still cover you if something were to happen to you. Okay. And again, we can adjust that amount, but then what we're saying is that if something were to happen to you, that coverage is there. That way your family can stay in their home. This would be if something were to happen to you, it would pay off the mortgage. Now, I'm sure you can see how important that protection is for your family, right, Steve?
Yes, it would. So I have those many months left. So next year, does that premium go down because it's going to owe less?
No, so the way that it works is that it is a decreasing term, because what we're doing is, as the company, we're taking on more risk right here at the beginning. But for us to keep it, all of your policies with Liberty National are a set and permanent rate. That means just like your whole life insurance doesn't go up based on your age and your risk goes up, we're absorbing that risk on our side. Same thing for your mortgage, okay? So we're absorbing that risk on our side. And so that premium is going to stay constant. That way you can budget for it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And then the final recommendation that they did put in here is so that if something were to happen to you, it's very important for your son, Christopher, to be able to have the option to go to college, right? And then that is something that we need to be protecting, because your college education, that can affect future generations of your entire family, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I can scroll to this one. So this is the current cost for college education. It's just astronomical. I know I still have college debt from whenever I went to school. And the worst thing is that if something were to happen to you, that they may not even have the opportunity to even go, especially with a 10-year projection of skyrocketing those costs. So what we're trying to do is that if something were to happen to you, we can protect that. And it's providing $63,000 of college education for your son, Christopher. And then to do that, this is going to cover him right here. And that's going to be that premium. So now, the key thing is that if you can lock in your age, because we are never younger than we are today. And of course, all of these things are based on our age and our health. We're only one doctor's appointment away from any of those benefits either changing the rate or even not being qualified at all. You're still in a really good health and age bracket. So what I would recommend for you to do is to at least get started on these things. And if that all makes sense, starting as of today, you've taken an important step needed to be properly covered, because this plan is intended to help fulfill all of your current needs: your mortgage protection, your son's college education, and then funeral and final expenses for both you and your wife. So now, which option works best for you? Covering all of those needs right today? Steve, you still there?
Yeah, I am. Did you say that there was an option?
Yes, so we can get you started on just your life insurance, just to make sure you have your funeral and final expenses, or we can go ahead and cover all of your needs. So we have your funeral final expenses, your mortgage protection, and your son's college education. So which option works best for you?
So all of the coverage, the entire thing, is that the 198, or is that just the life
Yes,
insurance?
that's this big one. This is all of it, to make sure that you are completely covered with every single need that you could possibly need. And that covers you for those costs, inflation costs. Okay, and we can always change it to be to take off one of these two things that's not as important, but this does cover all of your needs, to cover your whole family and protect them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that seems fair. I mean, if I'm not going to do it today, I probably never will.
Well, that's probably right. We only talk to people in insurance whenever it's, something bad's happening, or you've had something bad happen to somebody else. So, okay. So to recap, we have your final expenses taken care of, okay, for both you and for Kim. We do have this child rider on here in case something were to happen to Christopher, okay? You also have your mortgage completely taken care of, and your child's college education is protected as well. Okay, so if you are comfortable with that, then we're going to go ahead and go in and get the final information. Are you comfortable with those amounts?
I am.
Perfect. Okay. So if you didn't mind, Steve, I'm going to flip to the next screen so we can finish up our paperwork. I am going to need you to run and get me your driver's license and your checkbook so we can keep going. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. So then we go into our actual application. So then Steve is going to make sure that he gets all of his paperwork and stuff for me. And then we're going to fill in this information. Now, Steve, what's your social security number? Okay, perfect.
How did
How
you know?
tall are you, Steve?
6'3".
And what's your weight?
Lean, 200 pounds.
Lean. Whoop, whoop. All right, perfect. And then we have a email address, and we've got your phone number, and you can ask them if they want text messages and whatever else. So, all right, enter a valid one. Don't steal my social security number, everybody. All right, so then we've got him. I know. Yeah, go ahead. Good luck. Good luck to you. All right, so you're getting all of their information, okay? As we go through that, it looks exactly like Worksite, right, everybody?
Mhm.
When you get to your applications, this is going to look a little bit different whenever you have your A250, okay? If you've ever done an ALX or a whole life policy, it's the same application for ALX, okay? But they don't offer, obviously they don't have group term, so you have to go through and you have to do it this way. This is their whole life policy. You've got your insured person. They need to have a driver's license number. If they don't know what it is,
B4567967103102.
yep, right. You're gonna fill in, they were born in Missouri, blah blah blah. Okay. Next. If you didn't get to the amount that they wanted, like you can see premiums right here, okay? You can change your base plan if you, like I had this happen, a client is talking to me, she says at the beginning, no, I don't take any medication, no, I don't have any medical conditions, no, da 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 da. Okay, so we go through all this process, then she starts telling me all the medications she's on. She's on like 6 different high blood pressure medications, and she's on an anti-seizure medication and whatever, so.
Oh my God.
Right, and Amanda was on the call with me, and she was like, what the crap? And I was like, I literally just asked you if you took any medication. So, awesome. So then, okay, that's fine. Then you can change it here, okay? So you can change it to ALX, which is what I had to do. I had to go back and change it, and then it will change that premium, okay? Because ALX
Are they
is going to
looking, Diana, are they looking at the application while you're working on it or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So you want them to see it. What individual is saying is that they're actually having a higher close rate because they can see what you're doing. And so if you're being honest with them and they see like, listen, if you have the whole life policy and you're like, this is how much it is, $10,000, it's going to be $21 a month. And Steve's like, that's nothing. Show me how much it is for 15. Okay.
Right.
I'll show you how much it is for 15. And then you click out of the box, let him see what it is. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. Or, I want to add the premium waiver. Okay, let's add that. I want to add the accidental death benefit. Okay, I'm going to add 200,000. If they're looking at it with you, they can see exactly how much it's going to cost. Okay.
I don't know if you can do 20,000 of that.
$200.
You can.
Of accidental death.
Okay, make sense, everybody?
Yep.
And all the individual, it's monthly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Always monthly. Yes. Okay, so then once you have that, you're going to go to the next one. Make sure that you have their beneficiary in there. Okay, just like you would any other policy, you're going to have a beneficiary. And then you can do a rider. Now, here's the thing about a rider. If you're writing whole life for somebody, like let's say I'm writing it for Steve, and he wants to have a spouse rider, or he wants to have a child rider, that is going to cover that child, okay? Child rider. And then the accidental death benefit, that's your choices. Child rider with accidental death benefit. The way that it works is if somebody is, if Steve dies, but his child is still on that policy is null and void for his kid. It is a rider to Steve's policy. So the only way that
You say
amounts
that
to-
again, Diana?
Yep.
You broke
Yep.
up.
Sorry. Steve has a whole life policy with a child rider for Christopher. If Christopher dies before Steve, it will pay Christopher's life insurance. If Steve dies before the child, it's not going to pay on the child. Okay? It's only
Because
a
it's on the
rider.
child.
It's only a rider on Steve's policy. So once Steve has passed away and he is no longer has that policy, that child rider is gone.
So there's no insurance on the child after you pass.
Yes. So no insurance on the child. So if they are, lower income, if they have, 17 kids or whatever, a child rider is going to be helpful for them because it's a small amount. It's usually $5 a month to add a child rider. But when that adult dies, it's not like the career life that goes with them. It does not go with them. If that adult passes away, that child rider is null and void. It's just a rider. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
So if they have 1 or 2 kids, what they're telling us on individual side, it would be smarter if it's 1 or 2 kids to just go ahead and pitch whole life for that kiddo, just like we would pitch career life for that kiddo, as opposed to a child rider. It's about the same amount of money, but then they have their own individual policy. The only time you want to do a child rider is if they have a lot of kids and they're concerned about somebody's health maybe, or somebody passing away before the parent does. Am I being clear? I know it's like kind of muddy.
No, well, to me, it's clear.
Yep.
All right, we just don't want you to think that, okay, everybody's covered for that $5 a month for $10,000 worth of coverage. That's good, right? That's a good deal, especially if you have a bunch of kids. But if later on, you're expecting to have that money after the parent passes away, it's not going to be there. So we need to make sure that we're very clear on what we're doing. Okay. So then,
Hey, Diana, I have a
Diana,
quick
you said
question.
that was the same as the spouse as well? So the same terms apply to if the spouse dies or if I die before my spouse?
yes, if
It's a
it's just a
rider. If it's a
spouse
rider.
rider, if it's a
Okay.
rider, yes. Go ahead, Amanda. Sorry.
Sorry, is Babette in a breakout room?
Yeah, you want me to move you?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. Okay, so riders are only active when the original policy is active. So once that original policy is cashed out or terminated or whatever else is happening, if that person, like if Steve dies and then Kim's still on this rider, that rider's gone. And now
Okay.
she has to rewrite something at that new age. Okay?
Gotcha. So same with the kids, only if I got a lot of wives with the
Yeah.
rider
Yeah.
work.
Lots of wives. Lots of wives. Okay. So when we're talking about anything term, okay, it's still going to show up as A250. Okay, that's the life insurance that you can do on the individual side. When you get to the plan information, that's where it's going to change. You have your base plan, okay? Your 30-year mortgage decreasing term. That's what 30 MDT stands for. Okay, that means that it lasts for 30 years. It's designed to cover your mortgage, and it's a decreasing term. That means that their premium stays the same, but the value of that policy decreases the longer they have it because the mortgage isn't as much. So they would pay off the balance of the mortgage. They don't get that whole amount right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
You can change it to be a 10-year renewable and convertible, or 15-year mortgage decreasing term, or 20-year renewable convertible. So just know what you're pitching. That's what
How
these
do we know
codes
the
are.
difference between all these?
I'm telling you the difference.
Oh,
And it's on agent services. All
oh
those.
okay.
It is. It's on agent services. So I just know because I was like, "What's this?" and somebody had to
Right.
tell me. So it is in the code, that code cheat sheet too.
Oh,
RC is renewable convertible. MDT is mortgage decreasing term. We all know what ALX is in whole life. Okay, and you can manipulate these face values here to change to the total premium here. It does make a difference on like how many years. So this one is 30 years. It's going to be more expensive because you're doing it for 30 years. You can add more applications just like you can on Worksite, okay? So anything life, term or whole is always going to be A250. That's the application that they have for this on this e-app, okay?
Mhm.
I didn't hear your question, Terry, if you were asking me something.
No,
No.
she's just talking to herself.
Okay, cool. Any of these all look the same, okay? Accident policy, that's that accidental death policy that you can add on if you're not getting life insurance that we kind of talked about a little bit in one of our agency meetings. It's like a set rate, $3.21 or something a week, or I don't know. Accident Protector Max, you can go ahead and give them that ADP if you didn't do it at the beginning. That's the one we always give, and then you can give them a discount card. Cancer Endurance, Intensive Care, Cash Cancer, Critical Illness Protector. All of that is exactly the same. Okay? Okay. When you get to the questions, this is where the underwriting can be a little tricky. Individual is much more intense underwriting. Every single person is going to get a QAC call, and everybody's going to have to answer these questions not only to the agent, but then also on the phone to whoever is doing the underwriting. So you want to make sure that you are answering each and every of these questions. Like, go through all of them, make them answer it out loud. So even though the first question is hilarious, like, are you a citizen of the United States? Then you need to ask that. Like, are you a citizen of the United States? Yes, I am. Okay, perfect. Have you ever applied for insurance and had it modified, postponed, or rated? Most people are like, I don't even know what that means. Okay, well then probably not. Okay, but that means, did you ever apply for it and get it issued something that you didn't think it was going to get issued to? Have you been diagnosed with high blood pressure, chest pain, heart attack, stroke, or any heart or circulatory disorder? Yes, he told me that. Okay, now I'm going to see this pop up, and it's going to tell me I have to change to ALX if any of these following conditions exist, okay? So reading through this, if he just says, yeah, I just take high blood pressure medication, but no, I've never had a heart attack, no, I've never had a coronary, no, I have never had a stroke, then you're okay, okay? Then you just hit okay. And then I'm going to choose whoever is taking the medication. I'm going to say high blood pressure. Dang it, I can't type. Have I ever been in the hospital for it? No. When was I diagnosed? I was diagnosed in January of 2010. Who's your doctor? Dr. Tim Ford. What's their phone number? What's their address? Okay, if they don't know their doctor's name and number, then they're going to have to go and find that for you. They need to look it up in their phone. If they don't know the address, you can Google that. Just pull up your Google and look at it. Look it up for them. Does it look like it's on the Ballas Road? Yeah. Yep. That's it. Okay. Perfect. Okay, and then you keep going. When you are getting done with these questions, you're going to need to make a note of his prescription, and I will show you where to do that. Okay. So Steve, anybody else in the family been diagnosed with asthma, emphysema, or other respiratory disorder?
Diane, you're freezing and stuff.
Oh man, dang it.
So
Are you still there?
yeah, we
Okay.
are.
So did
So
you
the
guys
last thing I heard you said is the reason why we're offering this to you is. No, I'm
Oh.
just kidding. No, I'm
I
kidding.
was like, that was a really long time ago.
He's so mean.
He's so mean.
It was right.
You said to put a note.
Yeah, note, and then it stopped.
Okay, I'll show you where to put the notes on the medication that he's taking.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do that after we finish the health questions because it's the next one. It's down here under
Oh.
notes.
Oh.
Okay, over here on the side, notes. All right, so, and it doesn't matter. You can go back and forth. You can do it like, oh man, I'm going to forget. I better go do that in my notes.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Find your notes. Over here, you're going to find your A250, Steve Blamer. Now he has 3 because we had one for mortgage protection and one for college, right? It's not going to matter. They're going to see all of their application notes. Okay, but if you pull it up, here's my 17A. I did write that he has high blood pressure, and here's his doctor's information, right? Be as clear as you can be in your notes section. So diagnosed with high blood pressure, January 15, 2010. Last BP reading was April 15, 2020, and it was 123/82. Takes daily medication, lisinopril, 20 milligrams, one time a day. Okay, be as clear as you can be, because if you don't write that and then they find out that they have medication that they're taking, then that's more likely that it's going to get rated. If you go ahead and give them all the information that you can tell them in this little spot, that's going to help you get it rated to standard. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Don't forget to hit save, because I've literally done that 4 times where I'm like, I forgot to hit save. Okay, so then you go back to your A250 and finish up your last couple questions. Hey, Steve, has anybody in the family been diagnosed with asthma, emphysema, or other respiratory disorder?
No.
Ulcer, colitis, or other digestive tract disorder?
Nope.
Cirrhosis, hepatitis, or other liver disorder or blood disorder?
No.
Diabetes or other endocrine disorder?
Nope.
Kidney, prostate, urinary bladder, or genitourinary disorder?
No.
I don't even know what that word is. I can't say that, but
Nope.
that's fine. How about paralysis, epilepsy, mental disease or disorder, or any other nervous system, brain disorder, or psychological disorder?
No.
Any cancer, tumor, or unexplained masses?
No. They're all explainable.
Beer gut. Pizza baby. How about any disease of the breasts, uterus, or ovaries?
No.
Rheumatoid arthritis or any musculoskeletal disorder?
Nope.
Okay, so let's say that it's a yes, okay? I've had that too. So you look at what's going to pop up. It's always going to pop up with something that says you have to switch to ALX if these are happening. So if they have cystic fibrosis, we switch to ALX. If they have MS, we're going to do that, okay? If they're not, then we can keep going. Yes, Kim has it. I'm going to explain it. She has rheumatoid arthritis, whatever. Have I ever been in the hospital for it? No. I was diagnosed in December. My doctor, whatever. Okay. So again, you want to put in as much information as you can.
Can you leave that duration box blank?
Yep.
Oh,
Is that for the hospital duration if you're hospitalized?
Yep. Exactly.
hey,
So-
quick question, Diane.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you on the
No, you're fine.
questions, but we're supposed to put in their driver's license
Yes.
information so they can do a driver's license background.
Yes.
What if they have a non-driver's license? So do you
That's
put
a-
that driver's license
Yep.
number in there, or do you put NA and explain why?
No, you would put that in there if they have, because it should have an ID number on it.
It does.
If it doesn't have, if they don't have one, like I did an individual policy and she wasn't a driver yet, it was like a kid, you can put in W or any letter really, W1000, just like we would do on the fake social security numbers when we're doing an EAP. You can do that because the reason that they have it in there is so they can find that person's personal records. So if it's a non-driver anyway, then it's not going to matter. And it'll still put it through. It'll still accept the application.
Okay, because this was an adult. I don't know,
Right.
maybe 30s or something. Who had a non-driver's license.
But they still had an ID number, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so it would just be the ID number. It's just to help find them in the system, because when there's a death claim, they're going to have to figure out how to verify that person had the coverage.
Okay.
Good question. Okay, I'm going to keep going unless there's another question. Anybody? Cobain's? All right. So have you ever tested positive for exposure to HIV or AIDS?
No.
Okay, now this one, has the proposed insured in the last 5 years had a physical exam? You want to say yes. Okay, they need to have had a physical in the last 5 years. It's just their annual, right? So Steve, yes, he's had a physical, my annual visit. Were you hospitalized for that? No. When was your last visit? It was April 30th of 2019. Okay, same doctor, same phone number.
What happens if they didn't have a physical?
Right.
Well, then you hit no.
No, I know that, but I mean, what happens then?
Usually that means that they're going to send a nurse or a doctor out to do the physical exam before
Okay.
during underwriting.
Oh, at the cost of,
Liberty National.
yeah.
Okay.
We get a free exam out of it.
Some people are irritated when that
Guess
happens,
what?
but you know,
You have just qualified for
Yeah.
a free
you have
exam.
just qualified yourself for a free physical. Whoop, whoop.
Just one.
All right. So then
That's
have
all
you
he's finished.
Here's your
Yep.
certificate.
have you had any medical treatment? And this would include prescription medication. So we obviously already wrote that in our high blood pressure. So yes. Okay. Again, you're going to write it again. You can,
Jesus.
if they have a whole bunch of prescription medications, then you can just say C notes. Okay. I did that
Okay.
the last time. C notes. And then you can list it all in one place. Have you been hospitalized in the last 5 years? Yep. Kim had a baby.
I believe you.
Playing footsies with Taylor on accident.
Awesome.
That was the
Okay.
chair.
Then you're in the hospital for 3 days, whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Make sure you're answering all of these questions and asking them each of the questions, because it's going to be much more likely. We've all had something come back rated, even though we've asked questions on Worksite and then, they omitted something, or, they forgot that they had a heart attack last year or whatever. I don't know. I'm like, what in the crap? So you have to ask it. If you don't ask it, they're not going to volunteer that information. Okay. There's 2 pages of questions. This is why individual
Holy
takes.
Moses.
Yeah, it's why it takes so long. Okay. Has the proposed insured, has anybody ever been treated or been advised to be treated for alcoholism or alcohol abuse?
No.
Have you ever used alcohol to excess or used narcotics, sedatives, or hallucinogens?
No.
I haven't.
Hesitation much, Steve? Has the proposed insured used marijuana in the past year?
No.
Have you ever been arrested, including arrest for driving while intoxicated or under the influence?
No.
Do you smoke cigarettes or use tobacco in any other form?
Nope.
Okay, and if they did say yes, did they quit? Okay.
What if they vape?
You what?
What if they
That's-
vape?
That's not tobacco.
It's nicotine, isn't it?
But the question is
But
tobacco.
it's tobacco. Mhm.
Okay. I just
So-
know a lot of people do. So
If it is, look, if they do, if you say yes, then you just have to tell them who it is. Okay? That's all.
Okay.
It's just trying to figure out what's happening. Is the automatic premium loan provision desired? Okay, this is if
Hang on one second. Hang
yep.
on 1 second. Go back to
Yep.
tobacco. Because it
Tobacco.
says, so what if they smoked like 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
No, it says
if
does.
right, this is do they smoke cigarettes?
Right,
Okay,
that's
and then
correct.
Farmer.
if a former user of tobacco, when did the proposed insured quit? Okay, you can check that, and then if he did, and then I say, when did he quit? He quit 10 years ago, so he quit May 1st of 2010.
But I guess what I'm getting at is, since it says does the proposed, they'd probably say no to that question.
Which is fine.
Okay.
Because whatever they're going to tell, if they say no to you, Edie, they're most likely going to say no to the underwriter too. What you don't
Okay.
want is that you didn't ask that question and then the underwriter gets a yes.
Okay.
Because then they're going to be like, well, you obviously didn't ask that question. Shame on you, Diana. when I'm like, I did ask that question and their answer was different.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Okay. Automatic premium loan provision. This is if it's a whole life policy and it has cash value and then they stop paying their premiums. If they stop paying their premiums, then they will take the premium cost out of their cash value to keep the policy active. Okay. So you can say, yes, you want that or not. It just means that like, it's like an overdraft protection. If you have your checking linked to your savings, it's going to overdraft protect you. Okay.
Mhm.
And then do they have existing life insurance? This is the same question that we always have. Do they have any other company? You know, if they said, yes, they have something, then you have to put that there. Yes, Steve has da 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 da. Okay. Usually we're not replacing. So you hit no. Okay. Stop it. No. Okay. This is a good one because John got a little bit confused whenever he was pretending to do his. Check this out. Answer 29 through 31 only if the face amount is $100,000 or above. Okay. So these last three questions are, you can't always answer them. Sometimes they're blacked out and you can't get it there. It's because the face value isn't enough. Okay. So if that's not working, it's okay. It's asking, within the last 2 years, Steve, or do you intend to make any flights other than as a passenger on a scheduled airline?
No.
Are you gonna be a pilot? Okay. Then they're asking, are you going to engage in any automobile, motorboat, or motorcycle racing?
Nope.
Scuba diving, skin diving, or skydiving?
No.
And do you plan to
Scuba
travel? What?
Scuba Steve.
Steve, are you
naked.
planning to travel outside or reside outside of the United States or Canada within the next year?
Yeah, I was going to take a trip to Mexico. Would that be, that's what you're talking about, something like that, right? Even if I'm
Yes.
not going to reside there?
Yes, but it's only if the face value is over $100,000.
Okay.
So if it's less than $100,000, it doesn't matter. You can say no.
Okay.
Okay. It's just because they don't want you to take out a whole bunch of life insurance and then go live in crazy town and get killed and they have to pay it out. Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
It says you are a liar. You said you didn't smoke. Liar. Okay, this is the same question. Are we trying to replace anything? No. All right, so then we go to this next one. Oral swabs. Right now we are not collecting oral swabs, so there's no barcode. You type virtual. Everybody's is going to be virtual. This is for consent to call and talk to your doctor to see if you had a physical or if you need to have medical testing for any of your policies. So you're going to write that same doctor that you did for his physical. Okay. And then this is HIV consent, which is hilarious. I don't know. They asked that. Then you have your notes section. We already looked at this, but you can add notes if they take any other kind of medication. You want to make sure that you've listed it in your notes, and you want to make sure that you hit save. And then we get to our agent statement. You personally saw them because you saw them on Zoom. Okay, so you did personally see each person. It is not intended to replace anything. It does not cover any, is the person covered under more life insurance policies? No, okay, because we're not, it's the same questions that we do on Worksite. Do you have any reason to believe that the responses are inaccurate? No. Did you see them? Yes. Not replacing, not replacing. No, I don't think that they're incorrect. Yes, I saw them. Not replacing, not replacing. Everything is correct.
So Diana,
Yep.
on that lady earlier, if you would have gotten her and she was on the phone, would
Yeah.
you have clicked no that you did not see her?
No, if you talk to them on the phone, they're saying that that still counts.
Okay. And if it's a Zoom and they, let's say they have their camera off and you can't see them, you're still saying you saw them.
They still say, yes, it counts. Yes.
Okay.
That's how you get into the court of law.
Because what they're saying is that you are getting their authorization, A, by getting their bank account information, which I'm going to show you here in just a second, and then B, whenever they do that, email agree statement. Okay, so this is in lieu of being person to person, getting them in that thing. But yes, I asked that too. I was like, but I didn't actually see them. They said, well, it still counts. Okay.
Okay.
Aye, Captain. Okay, so then we get to payment. Okay, we're getting to the end. Sorry, everybody, it's taking a long time. You okay, Steve?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
this
a
being
lot.
recorded.
Yeah, we can come back for it. if we need to.
Okay, so then we're gonna add a payment method. So we go to add bank draft. And we're gonna choose Steve. And it'll auto-populate that stuff. Steve, what bank do you use? You use US Bank? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And you can choose which day you want your payment to be drafted out between the 1st and the 10th. Do you have any preference on which day it comes out?
10th.
Alrighty, and then can you give me your routing number?
Yep,
Zero
it's
zero zero
487.
zero zero
Yep.
zero 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 zero
That's-
zero. Awesome. 0000000.
You wouldn't believe many times that's been hacked too.
Right? All right, perfect. So then we have our checking account number. Make them repeat it, and then if it's wrong, it'll say it doesn't match. Okay, it's like not going to let you go forward. So you'll have to do it again because it's not going to work. Okay, perfect. So now it's probably not going to, it's going to be like, that's not a real routing number. That's what it says. Yep, invalid routing number. Whatever. Okay, so then once you get back to that last screen, payment setup, here's where you can choose it. So it'll say Steve US Bank, or you can have, here's my Steve US Bank, applied to all. And then it'll all come out. Okay, make sense,
Okay.
everybody? When you get to signing, it's exactly the same as Worksite. So you have your application, signing, next, and then you have to look at your applications. It looks exactly the same.
Okay.
Okay. At the end, you're going to do the same thing with your email. You're going to send them that email that says, yes, I agree. It is literally the same information. They just deleted the franchise number off of it. Individual market. Style solidification. Here's my email. Okay, it's the same thing, and then you just subtract the franchise number because there's no franchise number, but all the words are the same. You can use you need to use the summary sheet. So if I have Steve Blamer and today's date and Steve, we're covering you for 10,000. And Kim got 15,000. And we got you some mortgage insurance. And we got Christopher. We got him 64,000 for college. Now, Steve, what did you like best about this program today?
I'm taking over. They have to make a phone call.
Jen, what did you like best about this program today?
You?
Oh, thanks.
Oh.
You're salesperson. Okay, what's the most valuable thing that you got out of your coverage now?
Mortgage
Being able-
protection.
Okay, perfect. Paying off our mortgage in case of an emergency. Okay, and the reason that we ask that is because later on, whenever they look back at their papers and they're like, why in the heck am I paying $200 a month? I can't remember what I'm doing. Oh, it's because this is important. I knew it was important to pay off my mortgage in case of an emergency, okay?
Mhm.
Your premium is going to be $198.57 a month. This is my name. I'm going to put that in there, and then my number. Okay, so then you're going to copy this to them, save it, and give it to them, just like we would our salary authorization form. Okay, so Jen, the last thing I want to do is I want to go through this what comes next form, just so you know what's going on. I'm going to do everything I can to get your policy issued as we stated. During the application process, several things can happen. One, you're going to receive a phone call, okay, at least once, and this is the number that they're going to call from. It's our quality assurance department. It's 866-463-8606. And you are going to need to speak with them. It just takes a couple of minutes, but they're going to ask you the same questions that I just asked you. The sooner that you complete that call, the faster your application will move through the process. So if you're like me, I screen my calls and I let it go to voicemail. You can always call them back, but that's that number that they're going to call, okay?
Okay.
Jen, in some situations, the underwriters may ask for a nurse to come out and take some additional medical questions, maybe even obtain a blood or urine specimen. This is at no cost to you, and it is at your convenience. If that happens, they will give you a call, okay, and that'll be part of that conversation.
Okay.
And then there are 3 possible outcomes for your policy during underwriting. First of all, your policy can be issued standard. That means you qualify the plan just like we talked about, and you can expect to receive your policy paperwork within 2 to 4 weeks, okay? The second thing might happen is that after the underwriters talk to you, that your policy could be rated or modified. Now that means that there was something in your health or your habits that caused the underwriters to make an adjustment to your policy in order to issue it. The great news is that you weren't declined. You actually have that opportunity to have that coverage, and I will call you back so that I can explain those options to you, okay?
Okay.
The third possible outcome is that you could be declined to this coverage. If that were to occur, you would be refunded any premiums that you might have paid out. And there are also usually options for other coverage. That usually only happens if maybe like you're terminally ill and I didn't write that down or I missed something. So again, I will call you if that happens, okay?
Okay.
So Jen, when you receive your policies in the mail, please give me a call if you want me to schedule a time with you to review your paperwork, okay? To
Okay.
review with you, the cost of your policies is $198.57 per month, and we are going to be drafting that on the 10th of each month, okay?
Okay.
And here's your name, and here is your signature that I'm going to have you do with my fill-in sign. We're going to add a signature. I'm going to give you mouse control, Jen, so that you can type your name. Oh, I love your signature. That's so great. And then I'm going to just drop it on there. And my name. 922-9446. All right. And then I'm going to send this over to you. Okay, everybody?
Okay.
In real life, you would get a check. We are not collecting voided checks right now. Okay, they already gave you your bank information, so you are totally good. You get them that email, get their email agree, and then you are all set to finish the application.
Does either one of these forms need to be sent into home office? So what comes in the summary sheet?
Whenever I send the email and they send it back to me with the agree, then I attach these to this form. They don't need the, I don't think they need the summary sheet. I've only been attaching the what comes next form.
What do you mean when they send it back? Because they're supposed to hit reply all, so it's supposed to already go to home office. So how do you attach it afterwards?
I'm sending it again.
Oh, you send it
Because
twice?
most of my people aren't sending it reply all.
Oh, I do it when they're on the phone, so I make sure they do it.
Well, that's good. My
So
people
I don't know
just
how important
hit
it is.
reply.
Do they have to have the what comes next form then?
I've had 2 policies go down without the what comes next form. because they are doing the agree in the email. So then that's all they really need is the agree. I've
Okay.
just been attaching it because I wanted them to have their paperwork.
No, that's good if they get it. I just didn't know if they need to go to home office or not.
Yeah, I don't think that this has to go to home office because they're getting it through their bank draft information through the e-app, as far as I understand.
Okay. Good to know.
Good to know. Who else has questions?
So we do not need a voided check right now. for people.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's so much longer than worksite.
Well, and we did stop and like
Oh, I
talk
know.
about things too, but
It takes a good while though.
it does. If you sell something, it's going to take you an hour.
Yeah. Diana, how, and maybe I can just ask Derek this later, but how are the commissions on individuals? Is it the same?
It is.
Okay.
I don't know how it works like with management because
Yeah.
they don't really have the same structure over there. I guess they do. They have essays and stuff. I don't know. I think it's
Okay.
the same. Just gonna say the
Okay.
same. I'm sure there's a breakdown somewhere.
Yeah.
I figure anything that you sell is better than $0. So
Yes.
hey.
Yeah.
Hey Diane,
Yes.
has Amanda mentioned anything to you about this, or have you guys ran into it yourself? Some of these guys. Well, I had one client I was talking to last night who wanted to take out insurance with us, but she said that her husband is so old school that he doesn't do anything electronic. He doesn't have an email. He has a flip phone, and he's not comfortable with doing the bank information. There's no way on the individual market that you can set him up on just mail a check each month.
No. So what I would do with that one is I would set an in-person appointment with them and get a voided check. Because if they are going to mail in a check, then it would be the same thing. I think there is a way to do a premium notice and pay quarterly because I have some leads that said that on the thing, but I don't know how to set that up that way. Maybe ask Tony. He might know.
Okay.
I would just say, like, if you had the voided check, though, that might make it, you might be able to get the routing and stuff like that way, especially if he's uncomfortable with technology. Because you're going to have to get him to do an email to say agree, because they won't accept anything except for an email. And when I
Right.
asked,
Well, his wife has an email. She
Yeah.
said that to her. She said, yeah, he didn't feel comfortable with anything else.
yeah. So then what did the wife say about, like, getting the bank information? She just said he won't give that out.
Pretty much, yes.
So what you can do is you can have them, like, take a picture of or scan in a voided check and then do it that way. Because that's going to have the routing and the account number, and then you can just pull it off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I can, but that wasn't what he was uncomfortable with. He was uncomfortable with each month as having it withdrawn out of his account without.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, I know that there are people that are paying a bill every quarter or every month or whatever, so I'm sure that there's a way of it. I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
So that would be a Tony question. I haven't come across anybody that's not told me what their bank information is.
Oh, they were a real fun individual appointment.
Yeah?
She's had neck surgery. She's
Oh,
on
Lord.
disability. She has slight brain damage, and she's on nerve pills and high blood pressure. And then her husband had 2 heart attacks, COPD. and only had
Jeez. Holy cow.
2L.
That probably took quite a while, right, Derek?
Yeah.
Yeah, the more issues they have, the more the longer it's going to take to do it. So, my goodness.
I had one person too. She also mentioned to me about the paid